Thank you very much, Craig. As Craig very kindly said, we're closing down the show. Thank you for the energy and the vibe. We're going to talk about video monetization and strategy for trade shows, and we're going to start bold and have some fun. Technically speaking, events are the biggest content creators, or one of the biggest content creators in the world, specifically around video, and we do almost nothing with it in terms of monetization and strategy. We're still long down the way. So we're going to do about 25 minutes on that. So my name is Bogdan. I'm the one with the beard. Clearly, I can shave now. And we'll go into 3 steps. We'll try to talk about smart video and user-created content just to set up where we are and what we are doing. And then we'll go to strategy and then revenue. So smart video is a way of engaging with video and a way of looking at video that events professional needs to address, and it has 3 elements. It has to have all 3 elements. That needs to be interactive, so we must be able to search for a specific word, we must be able to share, we must be able to add content to it, and so on. It needs to be curated, because nobody's going to watch 300 hours of from Money 2020. I think they have about 600 hours of content. We have to curate that, and we have to measure every single step. Now, in addition to that, the way we look and the way smart video works and the way we look at it is like a layer cake. So everybody kind of puts a video on YouTube and they're going to say, oh, 300 people watched it. The way we look at it is what we see. So logos, what's in the picture, we can analyze facial expression, what the conversation is about. So use machine learning and natural language understanding to actually see what people are talking about. Also use these captions, which are not on yet, but they're there, and understand what people are actually saying, not just talking about, and what we do with the video. That needs to be measured, because the moment we interact with a point in a video, that's more important than any form you'll fill as a registration. Moving on, user-curated content is one of my babies. I've worked hard on this concept, and it's quite nice, and I think it's going to, and I know it's going to be an important element of what we are doing in the future of events in the next 10 to 18 months, because every experience needs to be personalized, and this helps give you better data to personalize it and helps your audience get more engagement. So user-curated content is professional-grade content curated by your community to their audience. That means that the guys from First Side Media here filming me, they have a good camera, they know what they're doing. It's better than, for example, what Aid is doing with his phone, because they're just more better at it. And it allows you to go access that content and curate a specific moment for your audience. It gives you behavioral data, because that means that your audience engages with your content, with specific bits of your content, and share it, so that's important. And because we understand, again, going back to the layer cake, we understand what is happening. Sorry, I forgot my timer. Because we understand what people are talking in that specific moment in time, we're going to get better data. And of course, if you went to the startup launchpad, Walls.io just won the best startup in the competition, which is a social media wall, which is done 90% out of user-curated content. It looks as user-curated content. It doesn't add brand value to the level it should, and is not controllable. So this can add a huge amount of value to that. Moving forward, why this is important is because we cater to an audience, and that's the most important element, the most important asset of our audience is time. So thank you very much for dropping by, but this is your time. So you offered me your time. You made a choice to sit here, although I forced Age kind of to come here, but the rest of you, thank you. So you have to keep in mind that you're not the only ones vying for that attention. You have Netflix, you have social media, you have other things outside digital, and those are way better than us to capture attention. On top of that, you're not the only guys doing events in that vertical. There are many, many, many others. So the most important thing that you have to do is to curate content so that your audience finds value in it. You don't give them 300 hours of content, you give them specific content at the right time so that you can build trust and they'll come back to you to get more content. And I can slow down now. So how to build a smart strategy? I will look at it from two perspectives because you're talking about trade shows similar to this and also 365 communities. Trade shows is quite simple, and that's why I will start with that because it's very linear. So if you only have a trade show, not a community, you have the before event, the live event, and after the event that leads into the before event. And that has been used so far quite badly in terms of content because content has not been repurposed correctly, and we'll look at how we can add value to that. So you have, sorry, I should have pressed on that earlier. You have the circular approach, so you have ups and downs moving towards your live event. So if you look at the before event, people don't usually, everybody says content is king, but everybody's thinking about emails, engaging people with emails. You've already spent a lot of money producing the content from last year. Curate it. Don't just put it on YouTube because nobody in B2B goes on YouTube to watch B2B events. They watch, I go to for NBA games or other crazy stuff, conspiracy theories. My daughter does something completely different. Put it in, curate it and give it to your audience so they can engage with it, and you can do a correct, a huge amount of content and huge amount of value from the past event, which again, you already have paid to create that content. You can also go before the event and engage with your stakeholders because you have exhibitors that are new or old and they have innovations and you want to talk to them, do interviews, small interviews like 30 seconds. What's the best thing that happened last year? Blah, blah, blah. Why do you want to come to Event Tech Live? Because I met Aid and Abby, because James is here. Do that and use your influencers kind of in the industry to create more content before and acquire a new audience, because you can, if you use user curated content and you allow your audience to curate the past content, then you'll access a new audience. At the live event, very fun. This was quite of the nice best bits in terms of interactive video content that I've seen in terms of specifically online, because you can ask questions, you can interact with it, but at the moment you can't really share it. So there are tons of sessions that I've watched. I'm very bad at writing. I can't write every single quote that's there. Allow me, because, not yet, but you have the closed captioning usually, so you have the text. Allow me to interact with that text, copy that quote, share it in chat, or share it on social media. We work on, one of our products works with Snowball. Snowball is amazing because they can take that content and measure that content. We can do Canva because Canva has a nice API, and we're working on actually editing that video live so you can share that snippet. Do targeted sponsorship. That means that you just don't just put Stova there because it's going to be everywhere, but especially in digital, you know who's watching the video, so you can say, oh, they are interested more in platforms, so put a platform ad in the middle. And that means that you can increase revenue and you make it more relevant for whoever is watching. And yeah, facilitate sharing, please. Just facilitate sharing. And allow people to curate your content because it's vital for your show. Oh, and yes, engage with stakeholders. Everybody's producing content. Who below has the stand? I've seen a couple of their pieces, but nobody actually engages with them. So share that, use that, and make the best of it. After the event, it's, again, back to curation. Curation, curation, curation. Take all these sessions that are fantastic. First of all, put them on demand because I want to watch at least 4 of them. But cut it. Editorialize your content. Get some people who know what they're doing, not necessarily AI, because you don't have the contextualize in AI. AI helps you to makes your life easier, but you have to get an editor to help to do that. You have a lot of engagement data that is coming from the event, from registration, from all people visiting stands. You have a lot of data. Use that data to create recommendations. Don't give me, you can see, again, all the shows in a link. Tell me the most important thing was Abby on AI, because I'm really interested in that, because I went and talked to all the AI guys. And create that joy of missing out. So I don't feel bad that I haven't seen Abby's show. I don't feel bad that I haven't seen Sophie's content show because I was taking pictures. I know I can do my networking. I know I can go and have a coffee with Aid. I can, without fearing that, oh, there must be something that can change my life and that content there needs to be used. And also, that means that you need to use data from all the pieces in terms of engagement, ad stands, ad registration, what people liked, what people shared, to curate that content for me and understand what I do. And I go back a little bit to this, and that's the circular approach, because once you have the before engagement, during the live event engagement, and you curate the content and people engage afterwards, that means that you'll have a better understanding of what to create on the next show and how to make it work. And that was the linear approach. The circular approach in 365 community means that you forget about the before and after. It's a continuous movement. Now, my problem with 365 engagement is everybody thinks that they are the central of the world. My event is the best. Nobody else in the world is producing any content around events in the event industry. That's not true. There are about 435 podcasts on the event industry last year, if I remember correctly, worldwide. So that means that you don't look at 365 engagement in the hope that everybody is going, that I personally am going to engage with you every single day of the year. But you need to understand individual attendees, where they engage, what they engage with, from length to subject, curate that content, understand what they engage with and curate even better, analyze that, and then repeat everything. And hope that they can come in and find value. So give them, by curation and editorializing content, you give value to your attendees. And that means that you build trust. That means that they will engage more with their content because they trust you more. That means that you get better behavioral data and more accurate behavioral data that you'll find in any post-event questionnaire that nobody usually fills in. And then you repeat that constantly. And you use your live event as the epicenter. That's where you create the joy of missing out. That's where you get the people the chance to shake hands, get other live behavior that you don't get in digital. Last time, actually, Abby was on the stage with me, managing the stage. I did a session on the square meter and why the square meter is the epicenter of every trade show. And that is the most traditional model. Square meter is, how big is the stand? 2 meters, 10 grand, happy birthday, 150 quid for the power, still square meters. How big is the venue? X. You're allowed to get 2,000 people in if you're lucky, that's square meter. That was the traditional model. You have data now. And not just from video. Video is one of the biggest behavioral data available, but not the only one. You have interactions. For example, Johnny there went and did about free partnerships. So that's the point of data. Scanners, emails, all this kind of stuff. That put on top of the square meter gives you a little bit more revenue and more valuable revenue. And now you add smart content to it because we all live in a digital world and we are old and we don't really engage with video, but our kids coming behind us, they all know, as in my kids, video is a form of communication and a form of engagement for them. So that is, if you do it smart, that's going to add another layer on data and we can have a little bit of fun with that. There is a game, if you don't know, which is called 6 Degrees with Kevin Bacon, which is you can get to Kevin Bacon by using any single living actor in 2 moves. And you can do the same thing with the square meter. And my point here is that by going and identifying your main important players in the game, which are the exhibitors, sponsors, and attendees, and looking at the traditional revenue models, you can add a lot of value by using the other 2. So you can, if you pick up ticket sales, for example, it's very much linked to the square meter. And it's going to get to exhibitors very simple because Exhibitors are going to be happy if a lot of people are coming and they're coming back. Sponsors, the same thing. Attendees is literally ticket sales. If you add correct data and you understand who you're talking to, those ticket sales are going not just increase, but become better. They're going to have more relevant coming in. And if you add smart content to that, you're going to be able to just not be tied to the square meter, but talk to audiences around the world. Because even if they don't come, they might want to see a session, not mine, but something nice. And they might pay for that, and you can increase your revenue model from that. The same thing with networking. Square meter, you have 5 tables and 300 meters of hallway, you can shake hands, happy birthday. If you have data, you can make that networking more viable. You can say, you might want to talk to A, B, and C. And if you add smart content to it, you can add even more data because you know what people are watching, what they are actually interested in, and you can do better machine learning to learn that. And I have about 10 minutes left, so I'm happy. And we'll talk about what are some of the new revenue models that we can apply by using, again, smart content and all the data bit. You can create new sponsorship packages, which is quite simple because, as I said, you can target people, you know who's watching, and you can target them with specific packages. You can target them across the year, so it doesn't have to be, again, the logo there. You can change, you can pick up this video and sell it to, I don't know, Silverstream, because they want to target people who watch people talking about video. You can, if you have a free show, if you have a paid show, for example, like Money 2020, which costs a lot of money to go to, I might not afford it, but I would be really keen to see a keynote from a guy from blockchain, and I would like to pay 100 quid for that. And that's quite nice mathematics because they have about 15 to 20,000, I think, walking through the door, give or take. Now, within the financial industry, because they have theoretically the most important people and most relevant people speaking there, you have a few 100,000 people that would like to watch that. Now, if you sell 100,000 keynotes, one keynote at £10, you're making an extra million or two, which is not that bad. Subscription services, the same thing. I don't want to, I'm part of your community, I build your trust, I can pay 5 quid to have access to exclusive content, and because I trust you and I know you're going to curate that content for me. I'll skip behavioral insight and I'll leave it to the end. Dynamic ads. Rather than having, YouTube, you know how it works. You play a game and then you see that game everywhere you want to download, or you Google boot the new sneaker and you see sneakers adverts. You have more data than YouTube will ever have because of registration. I don't register to YouTube. They know kind of my age and where I am. But you have way more data, so you can target ads and correct messages to everybody. So again, I'll pick up, Catch the Mice or Snowball. Snowball is interested in talking to decision makers in key industries. You know who they are, happy days. Put that in front of them and they will pay for it. Asynchronous video is a concept that has been tried but not necessarily used, which is using the ripple effect. So like when you throw a rock in a lake and it creates ripples. So you have my keynote, for example, about smart video. You take that and you get another 5 people talking about smart video as a round table that creates another bit of content, and then you can add, through user-created generated content, more conversations to it on social media and pick those up and do another round table, and it can grow and grow and grow and grow, and you can get a sponsor to pay for it. And behavioral insights, it's absolutely huge because, again, when I go back to the layer cake, not only that we know what we see and what sponsors are there, we know what people are talking about, and we know in the video, so we understand what people are saying, when they are saying it, and what people engage with it. So one of the tools that we do, you can search for a specific word in a database of video. So that word is key to engagement and understanding what I'm actually interested in. So just use them, please, and thank you. And yeah, that's me. That's the wrong slide. I forgot to change the deck. But yeah, I'm Bogdan. I do user-created content. I do video monetization, and
thank you very much. What a great session. Congratulations. Does anyone in the room have any questions at all, or no? Okay, cool. Thank you very much. A really interesting presentation. I'd just like to, this is our final session of 24 over 2 days. Just like to big shout out to Ryan, Henry, John and Rachel, who've been behind the scenes making all the magic happen for the last 2 days. So thank you very much everyone for joining us. All of the content that's been recorded over the last couple of days will be available within the next few weeks for everyone to view and watch online. Thank you very much for coming and hopefully see you all next year.